Welcome, readers. Today, we're going to work with suffixes. Do you remember what a suffix is? We've learned that a suffix is a word part that we add to the end of a word to change that word and its meaning. Our goal today is to read and understand words with the O-U-S and E-N suffixes. When we look at these suffixes, we notice that there are different vowels used to spell each suffix. This first suffix has the vowels O-U, and the second one has the vowel E. Now, you might think that we're going to use the O and U and E sounds to read these suffixes. That would make sense. But actually, when we read these suffixes, we're going to read them using the same vowel sound. It will sound like this, I, I. So this first suffix will sound like is, and the second one will sound like in, is, in. Read with me. Is, in. Now the O-U-S suffix means full of or having. And the en suffix means to cause, to be, or have. Let's look at some example words so that we can practice reading and understanding what words with these suffixes mean. Here's our first word. Read with me. Quicken. This word is quicken. Remember, when you see a word with a suffix, you can read that word by taking the suffix off, reading the first part that you see, quick, and then adding the suffix, in, quicken. When you put those two parts together, you get the word quicken. Now, let's use what we've learned about these suffixes to understand what this word means. I see the en suffix, which means to cause, to be, or have. Let's test this word to see what it means based on the suffix. To cause, to be, quick. We know that quick means fast, so quicken means to cause something to be quick or fast. When I think of this word, I think of geese. Geese are birds that migrate really long distances to look for food and water. One way that they quicken their journey is by flying when the air is calm or by flying when there's a tailwind that can help push them along. Let's read another word. Read with me. Dangerous. This word is dangerous. Again, we can read it in two parts by looking at the word and taking away the suffix. Danger, is. By adding that suffix on, we get the word dangerous. We see that this word has which suffix? The O-U-S suffix, which can mean full of or having. So dangerous means full of danger. Danger is something that could harm you or make you be hurt. So something dangerous is full of things that could hurt you. You know, geese can be dangerous when they think that you are threatening their eggs or their goslings. So it's good to give them a lot of distance. Let's read another word. Read this word with me. Frighten. This word is frighten. Now, when we look at this word, we can remember that it's okay to read this in two parts by taking away the suffix, reading the base word that we have, fright, and then adding the suffix later, in, frighten. Frighten has the en suffix, which can mean to cause, to be, or have. So frighten must mean to cause something to be fright. Well, fright is like being afraid. So I think that this must mean to cause something to be afraid. You know, one time a goose had to frighten me away from its nest because I was getting too close. I didn't realize that they were there, so the goose had to frighten me away. Let's read one more word together. Read this word with me. Courageous. This word is courageous. Now, when we read this word in two parts, first taking off the suffix, you'll notice something interesting. We pronounce this base word courage, courage. Then we have the is suffix. When we put it together, we don't say courageous, we say courageous. Sometimes you'll notice that when we add suffixes, the way that we pronounce some of those vowel sounds changes. So we have to listen closely and make sure that the word that we're saying sounds like a real word. Courageous. Now, what could courageous mean? We know that the OUS suffix means full of or having. So courageous must mean full of courage. Geese are really full of courage. They're courageous birds because they will protect their family when they feel frightened. So it's always best to enjoy geese from a distance. Great work reading words with the OUS and EN suffixes. Now let's see if we can read words with these suffixes in a text. We are getting good at reading words with the OUS and EN suffixes. Now, let's see if we can find more examples of words with these suffixes in this text. Read with me. When visiting a lake, you might see a ring-billed gull. Although these birds eat fish and insects, you should tighten your grip on your sandwich. Let's pause right there. Did you hear a word that has the OUS or EN suffix? I did. This word right here, tighten. Which suffix do you see in that word? It's the EN suffix, isn't it? Remember that this suffix can mean to cause to be. So this word means to cause to be tight. The sentence says, you should tighten your grip on your sandwich. That means to make your grip on your sandwich tight. Let's keep reading and see if we can find another word with a suffix that we know. These adventurous gulls might feast on your leftovers. Did you hear another word with the suffix that we've been practicing? That's this word right here, isn't it? Adventurous. Which suffix does the word adventurous have? It's the OUS suffix, which means full of. Full of adventure. This word describes someone who is full of adventure or has adventures. So this word in the sentence describes the gulls. It says that they have a lot of adventures. These adventurous gulls might feast on your leftovers. Let's finish this off. Cleaning up your snacks encourages gulls to eat their natural foods. Now that we've read this and found words with suffixes that we know, let's read it again so that we better understand what it is we just read. When visiting a lake, you might see a ring-billed gull. Although these birds eat fish and insects, you should tighten your grip on your sandwich. These adventurous gulls might feast on your leftovers. Cleaning up your snacks encourages gulls to eat their natural foods. Great work finding words with the OUS and EN suffixes. Now, let's see if we can spell some words with these suffixes. Are you ready to spell some words with the OUS and EN suffixes? You're going to need whatever you have to write on and something to write with. When we spell words, we try to visualize or make a picture in our minds to see how many word parts the word has that we're spelling. Then we think about each of those word parts and listen for the sounds in each part so that we can spell one part at a time and then put them together to make an entire word. The first word that we're going to practice with is the word sharpen. Say that word with me. Sharpen. When I say that word, I hear two parts, the base word sharp and the suffix in. On your paper, draw two lines with me. We're going to draw one line for each part. Sharp, in, sharpen. Now, let's start with that first part and listen for the sounds that we hear. Sharp, sharp. How many sounds do you hear in sharp? I hear 4 sounds. Sh, r, p. Those 2 sounds in the middle kind of slide together. Sh, r, p. Now, just because there are 4 sounds does not mean that there are 4 letters. Let's write the letters that match the sounds that we heard. Sh is 1 sound, but 2 letters. R, those 2 sounds slide together. R, and then P. Does your word part match mine? Good work. Now we just need to write the second part, the suffix in. In. Be careful with the vowel as you write that suffix. In. Now, the vowel sound here does sound a little bit like I. So you might have written the I sound instead, the letter I for that sound. But remember, we talked earlier and said that in this suffix, the I is not making its own sound, and instead it's saying I. Now that we have the 2 parts, sharp, in, let's write them together to make one word. Sharp, sharp, in. Here is the word sharpen. That suffix in means to cause to be or to have. So this word means to cause something to be sharp. Did you have to sharpen a pencil to write the word sharpen with me? Maybe you did. Let's try another word. This word that we're going to write is famous. Say that word with me. Famous. I hear 2 parts in this word. Fame, is. Let's draw a line for each of those parts. Fame, is. Now, let's start with the first part and stretch it out to listen for the sounds. Fame. How many sounds do you hear in that part? I hear 3 sounds. A, Now, the base word fame, you might know, is spelled with a silent E at the end. It helps that A make the long A sound. But since we are adding a suffix that starts with a vowel, we drop that E before we write the suffix. So here we have fame, and we've dropped that silent E. Now we just need to write is. I hear 2 sounds in is, but I remember that that vowel sound is written with 2 vowels and not just 1 vowel. Let's write down is. Does yours match mine? Just like we talked about with the in suffix, in is, the O and the U are not making the sounds that we expect them to make. Instead, they're saying I. Is. When we put these 2 parts together, we get the word famous. Let's write them together to make it one word. Famous. There it is. We remember that the is suffix can mean full of or having. So this word means full of fame or having fame. What would you like to be famous for? I'd like to be a famous author someday. Now, let's move on to our last word. Say this word with me. brighten, brighten. How many parts do you hear in brighten? I hear 2 word parts, bright, in. Let's write down 2 lines so that we can write each part on a line. Let's start with the first part, bright. How many sounds do you hear in bright? Br, b, r, I, t. I hear 4 sounds, b, r, I, t. But I think there are more than 4 letters. Let's write down the letters that match those sounds. B, r, those slide together, br, br. Now this is the sound that has more than 1 letter, even though it's only 1 sound. Br, I, the long I is spelled with those 3 letters, I-G-H, bright. Does your word match mine? Good work. We have the part bright. Now we just need to add the second part, in. Do you remember how to spell that suffix? E, N, 2 sounds, in, in. Now, when we put these 2 parts together, what do we get? Write it with me, bright, in. We have the word brighten. Remember that the in suffix can mean to cause something to be. So if you brighten something, you cause it to be bright. You can brighten somebody's day by saying something kind to them. Great work today, reading and spelling words with the O-U-S and E-N suffixes. While you're reading, see if you can find either of these suffixes in some of your favorite books. When you look for these suffixes and think about what they mean, you're going to learn new words and become a better reader.
This program is made possible in part by the Michigan Department of Education, the State of Michigan, and the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Additional support by, and by viewers like you. Thank you.